We've talked to a Reading pastor, actually specifically you talked to a Reading pastor, who says that fossils are not only proof the dinosaurs existed, they're proof that the Bible means just what it says.
He says Shasta County is a hotbed for fossils dating back millions of years. Or not. Depends on who you talk to.
This one right here is the only one in the world.
Pastor Al Franklin guides Reading's Grace Baptist Church. When he's not in the pulpit, you might find him hiking Shasta County creek beds, looking for fossils. And the two activities are not mutually exclusive. Conventional wisdom dates fossils like these found in Shasta County from 80 to 120 million years old. Pastor Al says carbon dating of some of his fossils shows them at about 35,000 years old, and he thinks they're more like 10,000 years old, proving his belief in a literal interpretation of the Old Testament.
By sudden burial and maybe death by burial, they evidence the Genesis flood, worldwide destruction, and so I use fossils in my ministry as an apologetic to evidence the truth of Scripture.
However old they are, there are lots of them in Shasta County. He says primarily in two areas, one to the east of Reading, one to the west. Almost all of them mollusks, many of them like these, called ammonites. He showed me how to find them.
Most of our ammonites to the west are encased in limestone nodules. And people ask me, how do you know there's an ammonite in that nodule? You break it. So you break all nodules.
Pastor Al gets permission to search on private property. He calls himself a field paleontologist and says this is a hobby, but it's obviously a passion, one that he shares with experts around the world. In fact, he'll be in Arizona next week.
When I go to Tucson next week, I'll hobnob with these paleontologists and we'll discuss and debate and argue, and I'll tell them where they're wrong and they try to tell me where I'm wrong, and I'll convince them. No.
And he promised to take me on a field trip where he guarantees we'll find fossils, so I'm looking forward to that. Of course, I'll bring that back when I go.
There was at least a couple things there that weren't fossils. It looked like an arrowhead and maybe a railroad tie, or what?
No,
were
those
those
were all fossilized things there, yeah.
Oh, interesting, okay.
Yeah.
Some of them were really cool.
The big things that look like a big snail or whatever, the ammonites. There's a lot of those in Shasta County, he says.
Break those nodules when you find them.
Yeah, we find a nodule, break it open. That's how you find out.
So he's guaranteeing